In an ancient world where gods and beasts reign, the legend of the mythical sword had long been forgotten. Many sought it in vain, until an unknown boy appeared. On a fateful night, the god king and dragon king offered him a choice: seize his destiny or fade into darkness. His sister, a legendary god slayer, brought back the heart of the immortal phoenix, empowering him to become the infinite sword saint. But was this power a blessing or a curse? Jealous rivals laid a trap, sealing away his abilities and turning him into a cripple. In the renowned Lunkade family, a cripple's fate is tragic: banishment. Abandoned and forgotten, he must find a way to break the seal and confront the destiny that awaits him. Those lacking swordsmanship could not survive in the brutal world of the strong. However, in a moment of unexpected revelation, GN suddenly awakened his magical talents, a forbidden art deemed taboo by his clan. In a magical experiment, extraordinary power erupted. Dark waves of magical energy surged like a tsunami, engulfing him into the endless void. As GN panicked, a colossal figure loomed behind him, and as he regained his composure, a being of terrifying aura stared directly at him. It reached out, slowly lifting GN into the air. It was none other than the dark god Soldier, the lord of all shadows. I shall forge a pact with you. You will possess the ability to wield chi guidance and become immune to all curses. As the words left his lips, Soldier discovered the curse known as illusory human chi, dwelling within GN. The very curse that had sealed his talents. Yet, perhaps it was this very essence that drew me to you. Soldier gently snapped his fingers, and the curse that bound GN was instantly shattered. From now on, no curse shall hold power over you, and you shall become an unparalleled magical swordsman. I eagerly anticipate your future. With that, Soldier transformed into a swirl of black smoke, gradually vanishing into the void. GN returned to his room, unable to believe that what had just transpired was not merely a dream. He instantly grasped the sword and rushed out of the room. He drew the blade, slashing through the air as the light from the sword's edge spread forth, emitting soothing sounds. The sword in his hand seemed to merge with his very being, with each swing elevating the sword's aura to a new realm. Soon after, he cast magic upon the sword. The sword erupted with destructive power, as lightning crackled and the space trembled violently. The first cripple of the Lunkade clan would no longer exist. This was his moment of vengeance. But at that instant, the surrounding mountains could no longer bear the pressure from the sword's aura. A thunderous explosion roared. The mountains crumbled, burying GN beneath the rubble. Before he could utilize the talents he had just awakened, he perished under the very attack he had unleashed. Nothing could be more tragic than this. With a heart full of grievances, GN weakly closed his eyes. Yet, when he opened his eyes once more, everything felt eerily familiar. He had been reborn, returning to the pivotal moment of his clan's fate, gazing at the sword that would determine his destiny. GN slowly crawled forward. In his previous life, merely touching the sword had been a mere coincidence. This life is a choice of your own making. Amidst the astonished gazes of those around, GN resolved to grasp the divine sword. Soon after, his father commanded him to be taken to Storm City for training. In the blink of an eye, 6 years had passed. According to the clan's rules, children under the age of 10 were forbidden to leave Storm City. One fateful day, a dead pigeon suddenly fell into his room. Only 2 individuals possessed the power to orchestrate such a thing. His 2 brothers appeared, those who had once delighted in tormenting GN in a past life. In time, they became ruthless killers. Now, leaving a terrifying impression on GN, they showed no hesitation in slaughtering an innocent bird. The 2 looked at GN with smug smiles, believing that he had been frightened into submission, which only fueled their arrogance further. Instantly, Hai Dan struck fiercely toward GN, but little did she know he had seized her hand. Hai Dan gasped in disbelief, unable to trust her own eyes. GN regarded Hai Dan with eyes ablaze, an enigmatic power radiating from his grasp, blocking her punch and immediately countering, sending Hai Dan sprawling to the ground. In the blink of an eye, he appeared behind her, gathering energy into his fist, unleashing a powerful blow that sent Hai Dan flying. In this lifetime, I will no longer show mercy to you. As GN vanished into the shadows, the night guarding Storm City, Khan heard the commotion and rushed over. Seeing GN holding the black chess piece next to his 2 unconscious brothers, he inquired, "What happened here?" GN, his eyes filled with killing intent, replied firmly, "They were fighting amongst themselves and fell down." Though Khan found it hard to believe, he dared not refute. Just as he prepared to take the 2 brothers to the infirmary, GN requested he bring them home as well. After tossing them into the rain, GN disregarded Khan's admonitions and turned away. Khan recalled the power GN had displayed, akin to magic. In the Lunkade clan, renowned for its swordsmanship, magical power was always considered taboo. Due to the obstruction of magic, achieving the peak of swordsmanship was nearly impossible. As the future head of the clan, GN had to report this matter to the current patriarch. Ignoring the torrential rain, Khan mounted his steed. He dashed to the front lines, while GN quietly observed Khan's departure through the window without interference. In this life, thanks to his contract with Soldier, he had escaped the curse that sealed his talents. He was determined to overturn all the humiliations of his past. As his father was on the front lines, hearing of GN's display of magical strength, he immediately summoned the clan's elite knights. Hastening towards Storm City, he wanted to verify for himself whether GN truly wielded magic and if he could become an aid to the clan, leading it towards glory. Subsequently, he called the two brothers Hai Dan before him. Yet the first question left them stunned. "Where do you think you went wrong?" The brothers exchanged glances, unwavering in their rebuttal. "We did not err. It was GN who used a mysterious power to strike us." Moreover, it seemed that the use of magical power was forbidden within the clan, and the two displayed a sense of self-satisfaction. However, when father heard the response, his expression instantly darkened. Clearly displeased, he solemnly reminded all present, "Remember this. With such an attitude, one could not survive in the Lunkade clan. Let GN come to me." Father was the strongest at present, but after reaching the demigod realm, he had lost his human emotions, becoming a being solely focused on the prosperity of the clan. In his previous life, GN, a man unaware of swordsmanship, was but a shadow in his brother's eyes. Yet now, everything had changed. In this life, GN would not allow anyone to look down upon him. Amidst the mocking gazes of the powerful around him, GN solemnly knelt on one knee, bowing his head to greet the clan leader. His father was somewhat surprised. "Why do you call me clan leader and not father?" GN smiled and replied, "Today, over 100 clan members have come, so I thought of you in the role of clan leader. Hence my address." His father seemed slightly pleased with his son's response. "I have come today for personal reasons. Call me father." He then asked GN about the questions raised by his brothers, inquiring where they had gone wrong in their fight. Hearing this, GN clenched his fist, his gaze resolute as he stated, "They were wrong for not avenging me. As a member of the Lunkade clan, despite any grievances, vengeance was a must." Beside him, the eldest sister, Mary, smiled alluringly, clearly satisfied with GN's response. But his father remained silent, pondering deeply after hearing those words. After a moment, he ordered everyone to leave. Upon hearing this command, the knights were astonished. Had the young master truly passed the clan leader's trial? Even the eldest sister, Mary, looked at GN with newfound respect. "My younger brother is truly impressive." Subsequently, only the two of them remained in the great hall. His father seriously questioned GN about the power he had wielded. Although GN was unclear about what Soldier's power entailed, neither righteous nor magical, after years of research, he asserted that it was not magic. GN extended his hand, focusing his energy, and a shimmering orb of air appeared in his palm. "Please, father, give a name to this power." Upon seeing this, his father's eyes widened in astonishment. This was the power once possessed by the first clan leader, Chi Guidance. In that moment, his father was filled with an unbelievable astonishment. GN had not only chosen the divine sword, but also possessed Chi Guidance. Would he truly become the next clan leader? The god of air, Soldier, had formed a pact with the first clan leader. Yet since his passing, this power had not manifested within the Lunkade clan. To think that Soldier would return to the clan through him. Hearing this, GN curiously asked, "Is Soldier stronger than you, father?" His father pondered for a moment before replying, "Have you ever fought a god? I have never encountered a divine being, so my understanding remains vague." Yet, in his father's eyes, there was a fierce confidence. As powerful as thunder, to wish to confront the gods as a mere mortal? Truly worthy of the spirit of the strongest in this era. Unexpectedly, his father gently patted GN's head, a warm smile gracing his lips. "Today, you have surprised me. Meeting you at this moment is fortuitous. How do you intend to wield this potent chi?" GN placed his hand over his heart, solemnly declaring, "I wish to use it for the clan." Hearing the response, his father looked momentarily surprised, then burst into a hearty laugh. He saw through GN's words, knowing they were a facade. "With how you treat your two elder brothers, how can you claim it's for the clan? Reveal your true thoughts to me." Unable to deceive his father, GN pondered for a moment before slowly speaking. I want to use it for myself. The admission plunged his father into silence. After a while, he spoke with a radiant gaze. This answer pleases me. Let us see what unfolds. With that, he departed from the room. As the door closed, the taut nerves of GN finally loosened, though the power from his father could not ease him as outwardly as it seemed. His heart swelled with exhilaration for overcoming the trial. Not only could he publicly wield his strength, but he also gained recognition from his father. In his past life, he lived as a ghost. But in this life, the name Jean Lencade would echo far and wide. Before departing, Sister Marie had bestowed upon Jean a special gift. She instructed him to consume it entirely, and then swiftly grow stronger. Upon unwrapping the gift, Jean was taken aback. Inside lay the heart of an immortal phoenix. Feeling the surging power within, he couldn't help but shudder. Sister Marie was truly a madwoman. How could one present such a gift to a 7-year-old child? This was something that could drive 6th-level magical guardians into frenzy. It not only enhanced fire resistance but also stimulated growth, serving as a crucial element for summoning the immortal phoenix. Marie was a 6th-level pioneering knight of the clan. She was known by the title, Tempest Wind Marie. Moreover, she possessed a little-known alias, the Madwoman of the Southern Continent. A battle-obsessed individual like her gifted him such a precious item. Perhaps there was but one reason: to enable Jean to grow strong quickly, to soon become her rival. That night, Jean asked a servant to cook the heart into a soup. But just as he was about to savor it, 2 figures drooling with desire appeared behind him. They were eager to share a portion. Jean promised his brothers that if they helped him with one task, he would share the soup with them. The task he requested was to dig a pit. At the bottom of this pit lay a sleeping, mysterious space. A figure radiated a powerful, enigmatic aura, like an ancient beast confined in slumber. After the 2 brothers, Hai Dan, finished digging the tunnel and returned to their room, they were filled with anticipation for the soup promised by Jean. However, Jean had only left a small amount for each of them. The brothers, with tense expressions, dared not protest and could only grit their teeth in gratitude. Then, Jean moved to the end of the tunnel. And behind a powerful wall lay the secrets of the Lencade family. He raised his hand, releasing his magical energy. The energy surged and gathered instantly in his palm. He forcefully thrust it forward, and the magic erupted, shattering the wall into fragments. Jean was thrilled by the spectacle before him. An ancient breath filled the air as a door emerged. He reverently recited the incantation: "The son of the Lencade family visits Yurache." The door slowly opened with a tremor. Here lay the legacies of the families annihilated by Lencade over the millennia. Only the pioneers of the Lencade family were allowed to enter. As Jean stepped inside, what caught his eye was a containment vessel, inside which was sealed a shadowy figure. Mysterious black energy coiled around the body. Small scales adorned the face of the being. Could the man before him not be human? Recalling the incantation just spoken, the enemy immediately recognized this as the guardian of the family, the Black Dragon Yurache. It was said that the Black Dragon Yurache had been defeated by the founding family and had fallen into a deep slumber. The legend turned out to be true. Yet, at this moment, he had no time to ponder. These esoteric tomes were far more important to him. But just as he turned his back, Yurache behind him stirred in an unusual manner. As Jean prepared to transcribe the secrets for study, he suddenly heard footsteps from outside. He immediately stood up, tense with anticipation. Peering out cautiously, a dark shadow suddenly appeared at the door. Unbelievably, it was the Black Dragon Yurache. Jean was taken aback, his mind racing with thoughts. This was the guardian dragon of the Lencade family. As long as he showed respect, surely it would do him no harm. The son of the Lencade family greets the guardian of the family, but upon hearing this, the Black Dragon Yurache's expression darkened, and it angrily retorted, "Guardian, what? Who gave you the right to call me a guardian? Damn Lencade family." After a moment of venting, Yurache squatted down, finally catching a whiff of a pleasant aroma. It wondered why it was emanating from such a small child. At that moment, it suddenly raised its head to look at Jean, then approached, wildly sniffing the scent emanating from him. "Why do you carry such a strange fragrance?" Hearing this, Jean had a bold hypothesis. Could it be that the awakening of the Black Dragon is due to my courage? "Lord Yurache, is this what you mean?" A surge of black energy suddenly appeared. But when the Black Dragon sensed it, its entire being froze in astonishment. "Sordri, are you serious? You, the one who contracted with me after 1,000 years, are just a mere child?" Yurache's face was one of disappointment. "I had an agreement with Sordri. According to the pact, from now on, you shall be my companion. Now, I shall formally introduce myself to you." In an instant, a terrifying surge of magic erupted, my hand enveloped in dark energy, transforming into a sharp blade. It disregarded Sordry's consciousness, merely a final descendant of darkness from the world of origin. According to the Millennium Pact, from now on, I shall stand beside you in this battle. Jean's astonished gaze ignited as a colossal phantom dragon appeared, creating a powerful tremor. "Speak your name, the one who has made a contract with Sordry." Jean offered a gentle smile, suppressing the joy surging within him. "I am Jean Lencade, the youngest child of the Lencade clan." And at the moment when the dragon's fist collided with his hand, the wheel of fate began to turn. Jean still could not believe that Yuriche, the mightiest overlord from 1,000 years ago, had ruled this land for so long. However, in the battle against the first-generation master of the Lencade, he had failed, relinquishing this land and sinking into slumber. According to Yuriche, he and the first-generation master were not enemies but guardians, also dear friends. Those who make contracts with gods often have a guardian dragon by their side. Yet, for many years, no one knew where the first-generation guardian dragon had gone. If Yuriche was still in a deep slumber, it only proved that he had lost his sanity. And now, he had become Jean's guardian dragon. In recent months, Jean had not ceased his inquiries about Yuriche, but until now, he had only determined one thing: Yuriche had an extraordinary fondness for strawberries. Jean was curious about how he measured up compared to the mightiest first-generation master in history. The black dragon pondered for a moment before saying, "You possess talent akin to his. Yet you have not reached that pinnacle." Jean thought to himself, "Will I forever be unable to become as strong as the first-generation master?" Hearing this, Yuriche sensed the frustration within Jean's heart. He gently patted Jean's head and encouraged him. "You are still young, with persistent training. You will grow strong like him. Indeed, you may even surpass him, for the power of the Dark Kingdom is limitless. And as a contract holder, your strength shall continually grow. So cheer up, I will teach you a new skill, energy release. But first, you must master the art of releasing magic and moving it. This process will take about 2 to 3 years. Until then, I cannot teach you about courage." But right after, a surge of magic suddenly erupted from Jean's hand. This sight left Yuriche astounded. Jean immediately used the magic, causing Yuriche to look utterly incredulous. Only geniuses can achieve this. Thus, he promptly began to teach Jean about shadow release. Instantly, countless shadows enveloped this space. All the darkness lay under his control. This filled Jean with overwhelming astonishment. He could sense the terrible power concealed within those figures. For the next 2.5 years, Jean persevered, training day after day. Finally, the day of his 9th birthday arrived. Meanwhile, in the beastly forest, traces of ferocious creatures were strewn everywhere, alongside an 18-meter blood-soaked blade, all reflecting the ruthless strength of the woman before him. Yet, in this moment, she appeared soft, asking Luna, "What do you think a 9-year-old child would like as a gift?" He was the 9-star knight of the Lencade family, the strongest among the younger generation. Yet he had renounced the filthy power struggle for the Lencade throne. Much like his nickname, White Whale. Like a free white whale. Thus, Sister Luna had never paid attention to her other siblings, even in their previous lives. They were like strangers to one another. But what astonished Jean was that Sister Luna had traveled thousands of miles just to celebrate his birthday. This made him question her true intentions. Had his secret visit to the library been discovered? Upon meeting Jean, the first thing Sister Luna did was gently stroke his hair, leaving him feeling flustered. Noticing the slight discomfort on Jean's face, she quickly asked if he was unwell. Yet, in an instant, Sister Luna realized something. The siblings of the Lencade family always struggled silently against one another. Did Jean think she had come to spy on him? She bowed her head and apologized to Jean. "I truly did not think this through. Even though you are still young, I forgot that you are also a part of the Lencade family." At this moment, Sister Luna instructed everyone to step back. She wanted to have a private conversation with Jean. It turned out, she had come to warn Jean that his outstanding performance before their father had captured the attention of all his siblings. This meant that when he left the Storm City, they would relentlessly seek ways to pressure him. She did not want Jean to be drawn into the cruel family feud and lose his own happiness. Upon hearing this, emotions surged within Jean. Unexpectedly, Sister Luna had come merely to remind him. But why had she been so indifferent to him in their past lives? Did she not see him as a threat to others? However, Jean had no intention of abandoning the family conflict. He had already endured an assassination attempt. Therefore, he could not retreat. When Luna heard this, a chilling aura emanated from her body, filling the space around them. Is there truly someone who wants to kill you right in the Storm City? She grasped Jean's hand tightly, her heart brimming with a desire to know who it was. But Jean could only shake his head, unable to disclose anything, for he himself was still uncertain. Yet today, he realized one thing: not all his siblings hated him. Upon hearing this, Sister Luna gently embraced Jean, whispering, "I'm sorry. It was your brother who dragged you into this filthy clan war." Then, she drew out a pendant that sparkled like a star, a special birthday gift for Jean. She instructed him that if danger were to strike, he should shatter the emerald on the pendant. No matter where he was, she would immediately appear by Jean's side. After bidding farewell to Sister Luna, Jean returned to Yu Lake, his heart filled with contemplation. But when Yu Lake suddenly caught sight of the sparkling pendant around Jean's neck, he unexpectedly collapsed to the ground, unable to believe his eyes. This pendant once belonged to the Beast King Olga, a priceless treasure for which many had shed blood to claim. It not only had the power to resist feeble spells but also amplified the strength of its bearer. Moreover, the pendant possessed the ability to summon. Yu Lake curiously asked if the powerful presence he sensed earlier was the one who gifted Jean this pendant. "He must have felt my aura." Hearing this, Jean was taken aback in astonishment. Jean couldn't help but worry whether Sister Luna had shared this information with the clan. Yu Lake sighed and said, "The one who can give you such a precious gift would never betray you to force you into a corner. Your sister is truly trustworthy. No matter what choices Jean makes in the future, he would always support him unconditionally." In the days of relentless training, Jean had reached the moment to depart from the Storm City. During his time here, he was not only recognized by his father but also received the immortal heart from Sister Mary. With the attentive care of Sister Luna, Jean had signed a pact with Yu Lake, the Dark Dragon King. This was something he had never dared to dream of in his previous life. Now, he needed to prepare for leaving the Storm City and returning to his clan. Jean reminded the servant to organize the books he had copied, then swiftly headed to the library to find Yu Lake, emphasizing that they must leave together. As Jean pondered how Yu Lake would act, Yu Lake confidently declared that he was indeed the legendary Black Dragon. Although he was weak at present, such trivial matters could not hinder him. However, upon hearing Yu Lake's words, Jean suddenly grew anxious and asked, "Why did you only mention something so important now?" Yu Lake pointed at Jean, teasing, "You really don't think I could sleep for 1,000 years without anything happening, do you? But rest assured, as your guardian dragon, as long as you become strong, my power will restore alongside yours. So hurry and become a great swordsman like your ancestors." The Lencade clan was renowned for its legendary swordsmen, and their ancestors were the mightiest swordsmen in history. Yet now, that legacy was almost forgotten. The current Lencade clan regarded magic as a taboo, a consequence of a shameful agreement made 1,000 years ago. Yu Lake also revealed that he would create illusions in the library, ensuring that his departure would remain concealed. Hearing this, Jean felt a sense of relief wash over him. He pulled out the prepared strawberry pastries and a bottle of wine, handing them to Yu Lake while reminding him not to get drunk. Leaving behind a bizarre illusion, Yu Lake was so eager that drool spilled from his lips, promising that nothing would go wrong. The next morning, Jean was escorted by 2 knights of the family, heading towards the family estate. Just as he thought the journey would be peaceful, the carriage suddenly shook violently. The guards' shouts echoed, "There's an attack," ordering everyone to stay inside. No sooner had the words left their lips than they dashed outside. Jean felt a surge of anxiety swell within him. He quickly grabbed Gilly, determined to escape the carriage. The knights protecting the Lencade family would never abandon their children, no matter the circumstances. This meant that the 2 others were either imposters or traitors. Who knows what dangerous devices might be hidden in the carriage? "We must escape immediately," Jean insisted, awakening a realization in Gilly. His eyes blazed with determination as he raised his hand, summoning a pair of claws sharp as the finest steel. From this moment on, he would risk everything to protect Jean. Gilly lifted Jean into his arms and swiftly plunged deep into the forest to flee. Yet Jean insisted that Gilly lead him to the 2 knights. If they truly were enemies, then those engaged in battle with them must surely be our allies. Once they realized this, they would indeed witness the true guardians. Those guardians were the unimaginable family of Mytel and the Black King's mercenaries. Upon seeing that Jean was still alive, the mercenary captain rushed to protect him, marking the complete failure of the assassination plot by the 2 imposters. In the blink of an eye, they found themselves surrounded. Gilly, with a stern expression, inquired about their intentions and who was behind the attack. To his surprise, the man scoffed dismissively, Mocking. Just a bunch of lackeys from the Lencade family. Witnessing the situation unfold, a chilling killing intent surged in Jean's eyes. And he commanded, "Kill one, sever the hand of the other, and bring them to me." At his order, Gilly exploded into action like a bullet, launching towards the man. In an instant, he unleashed 49 strikes, taking the man's life. The comrades nearby immediately retaliated, but Gilly struck with lightning speed, severing the man's hand in just a second. In the blink of an eye, one lay dead, another wounded. Gilly dragged the injured man as if he were a dead dog, bringing him before Jean. Their plan failed not due to a lack of strength, but because of their ambition to serve as wet nurses for the Lencade family, at the very least. One needed the strength of a level 7 warrior. To assassinate the Lencade heirs, they would require at least 3 level 8 knights. At this moment, the man, still unwilling to concede, bellowed, "Don't celebrate too soon. The era of the Lencade family is coming to an end." Unexpectedly, Jean replied with a surprising calmness, "What you say is precisely what I have longed for. For I do not desire the era of the Lencade family, but the era of Jean Lencade." Hearing this, the man became so furious that veins bulged on his forehead, and he bellowed, "For the great Gipur clan." Upon hearing this name, Jean suddenly grew serious. The Gipur clan was a renowned magical dynasty that dominated the other half of the world. Unlike the Lencade clan, which pursued the pinnacle of swordsmanship, the Gipur clan aimed for the apex of magic. After their ancestors passed away 8,000 years ago, they forced the Lencade clan to sign a humiliating agreement prohibiting the use of magic, sealing away the magical powers of all its members. For the Lencade clan, the Gipur clan was an irreconcilable enemy for thousands of years. These two were indeed lackeys of the Gipur clan. However, today, everything seemed to deviate from their usual course. Perhaps these individuals had acted on their own without permission. Jean felt troubled, for no matter how perfect the disguise, it would be difficult to fool a level 7 warrior. Was that man involved in this conspiracy? He felt fortunate, as it was thanks to them that he could escape from the dangerous situation. And when he returned to his clan, he would surely not disappoint them. After that, the group continued their journey. Gilly was still tormented by the fact that he had put Jean in peril. And all of this did not escape Jean's notice. In his past life, due to his weakness, Gilly had endured countless humiliations, even being driven out of his home. Yet he remained resolute in not abandoning Jean, bowing his head in apology for not taking better care of him. Jean did not wish to speak harshly to such a kind-hearted Gilly. But now everything was vastly different from his previous life. He was determined to overturn all that had occurred in the past. Gilly also needed to become stronger. Thus, he shouted at Gilly, who was still blaming himself, "Do not torment yourself. That is my command, though you are my caretaker. Now you are my only knight, my protector. If you keep hesitating like this, how can you possibly safeguard me? So, do not make me repeat these words again." Hearing this, Gilly immediately understood Jean's intent, resolved to be steadfast, and could no longer continue to be a burden to the young master. Soon after, they arrived at an inn to rest, and as they entered the room, Jean, exhausted, collapsed into a deep sleep. The next morning, Jean was awakened by the sound of a cat meowing. He turned to look out the window and saw a black cat lying on the windowsill, its eyes regarding him with disdain. Jean suddenly realized it was the black dragon Yu Lake. Thinking of this, Jean couldn't help but chuckle. It turned out that the way he had spoken was akin to turning into a cat. Hearing this, Yu Lake's face flushed with anger. Then, Jean opened the window to let him in, and in an instant, the black cat began to transform in its fury. In the blink of an eye, the black cat morphed into Yu Lake, seething and ready to settle the score with Jean. But he suddenly tripped over a raised floorboard, crashing with a loud thud against the windowsill. The loud noise caused the door to swing open. Upon seeing a stranger in the room, he immediately mistook Yu Lake for an assassin and lunged forward to attack with his sharp claws. The azure magic surged explosively, pinning Yu Lake to the ground, intent on tearing him apart. Upon witnessing this, Jean immediately pulled Gilly back. Yet, as soon as Yu Lake heard Gilly's name, he snapped back to clarity. Forgetting all about his throbbing headache, he struck a proud pose, extending his hand, and gently said to Gilly, "At last, I meet you, my strawberry cake." Watching this scene, Jean felt as if his head might explode. The situation had spiraled out of control, taking a strange turn. After restraining Gilly, he reluctantly introduced, "This is the protector of the Lencade family, the black dragon Yu Lake." When he introduced Gilly to Yu Lake, the latter flashed a mischievous smile and said, "I know, he is the strawberry cake I adore the most." Gilly felt a bit puzzled as to why Yu Lake referred to him as strawberry cake. But soon he realized it was because he made strawberry cakes for Jean every day. Yu Lake had tasted a myriad of dishes. Following that, Jean began to share his circumstances with Gilly. Upon learning that Jean had not only received blessings from the Kingdom of Shadows but also possessed magical powers and a dragon god protector, Gilly's heart swelled with joy. However, upon realizing that the sound earlier was caused by Yu Lake collapsing to the ground, his respect for him diminished considerably. "Young master, can this person truly be trusted?" he couldn't help but ask. The two safely reached the mobile checkpoint of Mytel. Expressing their gratitude to the members of the mercenary team, after presenting the documentation from the Lunkade family, they were invited into the VIP lounge. In just 2 hours, the transfer would begin, and as soon as they stepped into the room, they hurriedly took their seats. Uruk Kai jumped off Jean's lap, unhesitatingly curling up on Gilly's legs and falling into a deep slumber. At that moment, a figure entered the room, and upon seeing the emblem on the visitor, Jean felt a rush of anxiety. It was the arch-nemesis of the Lunkade family, the Zhepu clan. The young man with white hair strode directly to sit across from Jean. Wearing a proud and mocking expression, "Who would have thought I'd run into this insufferable brat here?" Jean felt a sense of familiarity with the young man before him. At that moment, Uruk Kai, now transformed into a black cat, had drawn his attention, compelling him to reach out and tease it. Unexpectedly, Uruk Kai scratched him sharply. The two attendants accompanying him immediately drew their swords, but the young man quickly waved them off. He thought to himself, "I never expected that the little Lunkade could handle my provocation so calmly." He stood up and approached Jean. "My name is Belladin. I apologize for my earlier rudeness." Upon hearing this name, Jean instantly recalled his identity. In his past life, he was a genius wizard and the heir of the Gipu clan. To Jean, in his past life, he was a distant shadow, unattainable. It was astonishing that in this life, the two could meet while still young, both as heirs of their respective clans. Jean pushed Uruk Kai aside and laughed. "Even if you're just joking, if those two really draw their swords, then your next journey will cost you 2 servants. And you'll also lose 2 fingers. Belladin sneered, waving his hand dismissively. "You're taking this too far." But Jean's expression turned cold. "Do you think I'm joking?" A chill surged within Belladin at Jean's words. Yet, he struggled to maintain his stance. "Don't touch the fingers of the Gipu, or else both clans will face serious trouble." To this, Jean replied with sarcasm, "Do you really think they would ignite a clan war over a child's prank?" This statement plunged Belladin into silence. But moments later, he burst into laughter. "Today, I've learned a trick from you. I will definitely repay you in due time." Jean immediately responded, "No need to wait, do it now. I just hope you keep quiet and don't disturb my rest." Upon hearing this, Belladin could no longer hold back and could only stealthily stand to the side. Observing Jean, what would this person become in the years to come? Surely, he would become an extraordinary figure, right? If the two clans weren't enemies, I would even want to be his friend. But Jean felt helpless. Is he possessed by a demon? His fingers were nearly severed. Yet he remained so exhilarated for 2.5 hours. At that moment, the voice from the broadcast announced that the teleportation was about to begin. Simultaneously, a massive wave of blue mana spread throughout the room. Then, Belladin suddenly stood up. "Jean, Runked, we shall meet again in the future." But he added, "On second thought, it's better not to meet again." Jean arrived at his destination, where the butler Bidro was already waiting. "After your long and arduous journey, you must be tired. Welcome to the Lunkade clan, the gathering place of great figures, the Garden of Swords, the glorious emblem of the clan. Only those who make significant contributions to the clan can leave a mark within it." Jean had once dreamed of such a fate, but in his past life, he possessed no talent for swordsmanship. He had hoped that with just a little effort, he would succeed, but the harsh reality extinguished all hope. Yet in this life, he was determined to completely overturn everything from his previous existence. Jean stepped forward before his parents and many siblings. Uruk Kai, perched on Jean's shoulder, stood out among the crowd. "Father seems to have noticed something unusual about you. Is this the cat you found?" Jean immediately corrected him. "No. He is the cat I adopted." Jean resolutely and firmly responded, earning praise from his father. Because in the Lunkade family, when receiving anything, one must show a strong attitude. Mother hugged Uruk Kai close and asked Jean, "What is the name of this cat?" "His name is Nabil Lunkade," Jean replied, causing his siblings to buzz with excitement. "You dare to name a lowly creature with the surname Lunkade, father?" With a serious expression, questioned Jean about his choice. Jean replied with unwavering conviction, because this is the first cat I adopted. I will take responsibility for him. Thus his name must hold meaning. Hearing Jean speak thus, father found it intriguing, but, do you know the meaning of the surname Lunkade? Jean stood tall, declaring with determination, I understand. If anyone dares to harm Nabil, I will make them pay. Father pointed to Jean's siblings, look. Their expressions seemed to be gritting their teeth. It appears you really know how to make enemies. But Jean paid no heed to this. He confidently proclaimed, indeed. But I am also very skilled in eliminating foes. His father burst into laughter. Did you hear that? If you don't want to be trampled by the mighty Jean, then brace yourselves. 4 years passed. Now, Jean had become a 2-star knight. After the morning training ended, it was time for lunch. The teacher hoped he would dine with the young masters. But Jean coldly refused. I do not wish to associate with them even at the dining table. A moment later, Belop brought lunch to Jean. He was the knight instructor protecting the Lunkade clan. In his previous life, he had been eliminated in the following training session and expelled. Afterward, he joined another renowned swordsmanship school called Hai Lan, eventually becoming a henchman of the Mant Empire, ultimately turning into a ruthless assassin. Seeing his own reflection in Belop, Jean decided to help him in the next training session, for living in misery and enduring a tragic life was enough for one lifetime. Currently, Jean's power had reached level 2, with a magical force of 4 stars, and swordsmanship at 2 stars. At this rate, within the next 2 years, he could very well grasp the 3rd level of swordsmanship. But first, he must endure the harsh training from Sister Luna. Luna's demanding request was for Jean to master the Eye of the Mind, a feat achievable only by 7th level knights even when they were still at the 2nd level. With his exceptional performance, he deserved to be hailed as the greatest genius in Lunkade's history. The focus and endurance he exhibited surpassed the capabilities of a mere 2nd level knight. At this rate, within a few years, he could very well grasp it. After 2.5 months of training, the evaluation day for the knight's defense had arrived, marking a chance for Jean to prove his strength. If he could defeat the top 10 contenders in this trial, he would ascend to the final training class the following year. At this moment, Jean took note of Belop's condition. Though he intended to help Belop avoid being eliminated, he also hoped Belop could gain more confidence. Then, the trial commenced. After a fierce bout, the top 10 contenders were determined. They would face Jean one by one. Jean's highest victory record stood at 18 opponents. He only needed to defeat 2 more today to secure his place. Among the 10, the opponent he had to pay special attention to was the elite knight Miza, who would play a crucial role in determining Jean's fate in this trial. Suddenly, Miza charged forward, swinging his wooden sword fiercely at Jean as if to obliterate him. Feeling the force of the strike, Jean couldn't help but be startled. He's stronger than before. However, it was still within the realm of defeatability. The real issue was that after vanquishing Miza, he still had 8 more adversaries to overcome. Thus, he had to strive to conserve his strength. Jean unleashed his attacks like a tempest, an unrelenting series of strikes, each employing the same technique. This repetition made Miza feel something was amiss. This kid's move is far too familiar. Why is he resorting to it again? No matter how he speculated, it was impossible for him to fathom Jean's true intent. Suddenly, a bold thought flickered in his mind. Does he think I will inevitably fail? So he doesn't need to exert himself fully? He truly underestimates me? This only fueled Miza's indomitable fighting spirit. Come at me, kid, in an instant. The two launched into a dramatic clash once more. Miza raised his wooden sword high, leaping into the air, and struck down like a tempest towards Jean. As predicted, the wooden sword in Miza's hand was severed in 2 by Jean. He stared at the broken piece of wood, unable to believe his eyes. In the next moment, Jean's sword was poised against Miza's throat, a resounding declaration of victory. Upon seeing Jean's sword, Miza suddenly grasped the truth. So, Jean has been striking the same point every time, which is why my wooden sword broke. But this required a level of resolve and precision beyond imagination. Is he truly the strongest genius in the history of Lunkade? After witnessing Jean's overwhelming victory over Miza, the pressure within the remaining 8 intensified exponentially. This was the scheme that Jean had orchestrated, making them believe they could never contend with him in a direct confrontation, thus plunging them into anxiety. Jean had successfully defeated 10 opponents. Yet, at that moment, his gaze lingered on Belop. Gripping the wooden sword, he pointed toward the crowd. Belop, you cannot survive in the Lunkade clan looking like this. Step forward and fight me. I will make you completely crumble. Looking at Belop, who was displaying timidity, Jean calmly raised his wooden sword and charged in for the attack. Belip merely stood there, passively defending himself, unable to comprehend why Jean had turned so suddenly. In that instant, Jean swiftly lunged forward to attack again. The two engaged in fierce combat. Their clashes